Hey guys, Dr. Morse, Injury Experts here. So let's talk about Jordan Mason, who has had a fantastic, unexpected year, secondary to Christian McCaffrey not playing due to his calf and Achilles injuries. Well, Jordan Mason has been on fire. He's literally led the league in rushing, but unfortunately he got injured tonight. He landed pretty hard directly on his shoulder, kind of boom, like right here. Now, traditionally, you saw him kind of grabbing this. So this can be a couple things. This is most likely an AC sprain. So the AC joint is the collarbone coming across to where it meets the tip of the shoulder. There are multiple ligaments that are responsible for holding this in place. Now, if it's a type 1, these are considered types, not grades, and there's 6 types. And when you have these, traditionally, they are very painful, but a type 1, usually guys can potentially go back into the game as long as the x-rays are negative, meaning there's no fractures or there's no significant rise in shoulder, in the bone. You've probably seen Keenan Allen's shoulder at some capacity before. Now, oftentimes they will consider putting a cortisone shot or a Toradol shot or something like that in the shoulder in that area and go back out. So he came back to the field. We're like, okay, no fracture, no dislocation. Dislocation very unlikely if they were to allow him back in the game. It's very unlikely. Went back into the game. But then the nature of being a running back, you're going to run, and even though you have shoulder pads on, you can run into people and you can re-aggravate this, and that's likely what he did. You saw him on the sidelines kind of trying to get comfortable, and then they gave Taylor the majority of the touches in the second half. And then, by the end, Guerrero ended up having a monster run at the end, and it looked great, but now we don't really know what to expect. So they have a little bit of an extra couple days, right, with the Thursday game to potentially get him back. So there's a decent chance he could play in week 7. But this may be a 3-headed monster now, or at least a 2-headed monster if he's able to, if he's not able to go. Guerrero would be my top pick because Taylor didn't look very good. In my opinion, we would have seen a lot more effectiveness if Mason was doing those runs. I think he already leads the league in broken tackles with 25, and I think the next closest is 20. So he's a skilled runner. And now, we're going to hear McCaffrey probably coming back in week 10, somewhere around there, right after the 49ers' bye. So we'll have to see how this plays out, but my suspicion is it's an AC sprain, 50-50 to play next week, as long as it's not a type 2 or type 3, which is what Anthony Richardson had. He wouldn't have been able to come back in the game with those. Those are much more significant injuries. Not a whole lot to do. You can inject this, but usually they don't need to. A little PT, they're going to rest it, and most of the guys will end up playing the next week. A lot of the receivers end up playing. It may be a little bit harder because he's going to try to use this shoulder to run into people, and it's just not very comfortable. But nonetheless, let's hope that it's not a significant injury. My suspicion is just re-aggravated it, and they just said, you know what, we're up a decent amount. We have 2 other backs. Let's just keep them in. So, I'll provide more information when we have it. Thank you for tuning in. If you like this type of content, do me a favor, smash a thumbs up, subscribe, check out some of the other content on theinjuryexperts.com, as well as on YouTube and TikTok. Take care.